So the season's finally over. A very, very disappointing season that's seen us miss out on Europe for the first time in 25 years. And we couldn't even get the consolation of a St Totteringham's Day. This is the Arsenal versus Brighton match review. Hello, my name is Richard. Welcome back to my channel over and over and over again. In this video, I'm going to look back on yesterday's final game of the season, 2-0 victory against Brighton. I'm going to look at the lineup, I'm going to analyse the performance, and I'm going to select a man of the match. Just before I get into all that, I'll make sure that you are subscribing to my channel. If you do enjoy what I do, if you like a little bit of different Arsenal content, I focus on the Arsenal women as well, plus a lot of history of the club. Please click on the subscribe button down in the corner there. It is completely free of charge. It does help the channel to reach a larger audience. If you enjoy this video, please give it a like as well. Please share the content around it. If you've got any comments at all to make about this particular game, where we finished in the season, or anything else to do with Arsenal, please drop them in the box below, as I do love to hear from you guys as well. So for this final game of the season, Mikel Arteta made just two changes to the side that had won 3-1 at Crystal Palace in midweek. Granit Xhaka came into midfield in place of El Neni, and in the front four, it was Martin Odegaard who came in to replace Bukayo Saka, who dropped down to the bench. So this was how we lined up then. It was Bernd Leno in goal. The back four was Chambers, Holding, Gabriel and Tierney once again. Two in midfield, Partey, and I'll say Granit Xhaka came in there. In the number 10 position was Martin Odegaard. Pepe kept his place on the right following his two goals against Palace. Smith Rowe switched to their left, and it was Aubameyang again through the centre. So no Martinelli in the starting lineup once again, despite him coming off the bench and scoring an important goal against Crystal Palace in the week. Saka, I say, was on the bench alongside Nketiah, Lacazette, Ceballos, El Neni, Mari, Suarez, and goalkeeper Renarson, because of course Matt Ryan was unable to play against his parent club. The Brighton lineup, there are not too many surprises there. Sanchez was in goal. Their back four was White, Webster, Dunk, and Byrne. In midfield, they had Jahanbakhsh, Gross, Bissouma, and Moda, and it was McAllister and Trossard up front. On the bench for them included Adam Lallana and Aaron Connolly, of course, who's a highly rated young player, along with Zakiri and McGill. So they were the lineups for this game. Well, I suppose in many ways it was a typical Arsenal performance, wasn't it? We had quite a lot of possession, a lot of sideways and backwards passing. We were clearly a better side against the Brighton team with very little to play for. They secured their Premier League safety a few weeks ago. And while they were chasing a record number of Premier League points, you could see that there was only one team that really looked like they wanted to win this game. We knew, of course, that a win could get us into the Europa Conference League. Not that necessarily we wanted to do that, but I think European football was the aim required for Mikel Arteta. And of course, as well, it would have given us the opportunity to have finished above Tottenham for the first time since 2016. They, of course, needed to drop points away at Champions League chasing Leicester. As it turned out, it was a little bit of a frustrating game. Good to see the 10,000 fans in the ground. The protest before the match didn't really attract a lot of people, probably because of the weather, and also the fact that more people are focused on going to their first game in a lot more than a year. So the performance wasn't great, but we did what we had to do. In the end, it took two pieces of individual brilliance, actually, from Nicolas Pepe, who's finishing the season in fantastic form, isn't he? His two goals early in the second half sealed this game. The first goal was a brilliant take, actually. Callum Chambers put a ball in from the right-hand side, a great first touch, and then a shot across the goalkeeper into the far corner. Really good finish that was. And then on the hour mark, he got his second goal. probably an even better goal actually, very similar to the one he scored at Palace the other night. He picked up the ball for Martin Odegaard out on the right-hand side, ran into the penalty area and put a shot into the corner of the net to make it 2-0. So that's 16 goals for the season for Nicolas Pepe. And while he's still frustrating at times during games, as indeed he was in this game, he's starting to show his real quality in the final third now. He's getting a lot more end product. He's a lot more direct. He's one of the bright sparks going into the new season. And in form, Nicolas Pepe could be vital to our future. Brighton, and of course, all eyes are on Yves Bissouma in their midfield, a player that's been heavily linked to Arsenal. He's had a great season, hasn't he? And he again performed magnificently for them. You can see what a difference he would make to our midfield. The only danger now is looking at the fact that we're not in Europe next season. He may well have his sights set a little bit higher. I'm sure there'll be clubs in the top European competitions that will be interested in buying Bissouma in the summer, and that could be a problem, even though it's been widely reported that he is an Arsenal fan and would love to play for the club. Sometimes he's got to think of his career. Would this be the best move for him? For us as a club, I think it would. I think he's a fantastic player that would improve us, but I'm not sure whether or not we'll be able to tempt him with no European football at all and a very uncertain future. So, man of the match then, I suppose when you look at the game, there can only really be one possible option. I will run through the other performances just to clear it up. Bernardo in goal didn't have a lot to do, did he? Brighton didn't offer a lot of an attacking threat, but again, it's another clean sheet for him. He's not had a great season overall. He's had some good games, but he did his job yesterday fairly comfortably. The back four wasn't really troubled. I thought they might have caused us a few more problems, Brighton actually. Big team from set pieces, but we defended pretty well. Chambers got forward okay at times. I say did get an assist for the first goal. Holding and Gabriel did okay at the back, were reasonably solid, didn't make too many silly mistakes, which was nice to see. Kieran Tierney still doesn't look 100% fit, but he's certainly looking a little bit more on his way to recovery. A much better performance from him at left back. I thought the two in midfield were good actually. Thomas Partey had another decent game. He ran out of steam a little bit again towards the end, as he tends to do, but he came close to scoring, didn't he? Hitting the woodwork and coming close a couple of times as well. So his shooting's obviously improving. I thought next to him, Granit Xhaka had a really good game. Good to see him back in midfield. He's had a few injury problems. Of course, he's played a lot of the recent weeks at left back as well. It's good to see him back in midfield. You can see what he does offer. I thought we had a decent game, Granit Xhaka in midfield. So the front four then all did okay, didn't they? Smith Rowe, I don't think out left is his best position. He's more suited to the number 10 role, isn't he? Martin Odegaard came in. He looks a good player again. But are we going to be able to keep him in the summer? Do we want to splash out the money needed? We'll have to see what happens with that. I thought up front, Aubameyang was virtually anonymous, wasn't he? Our poorest player once again. Yes, we could make the excuse about the malaria, and I do think that's a factor. He's only scored one goal, hasn't he, since he came back into the side, but he's nowhere near himself. He doesn't look happy. His body language is poor. And for a captain of this club, these performances just aren't good enough. But I don't want to focus too much on that today. So that obviously leaves the one man, doesn't it? The star of the show. He's been the star of the show at the end of the season for us, hasn't he? That has to be Nicolas Pepe. Another great performance from him. Really, really coming to his own now. Starting to show exactly why we paid the money for him that we did. And let's hope that now the penny's finally dropped and he can really push on from here. Good performance from him again. Two really, really good goals, actually. I'd say 16 for the season. That's the sort of numbers that the great wide players in Arsenal's history used to come up with. You know, people like Anders Limpar, Brian Marwood and Robert Pires, Mark Overmars, those sort of numbers, isn't it? So, you know, you've got to take your hat off and say, well done, Nicolas Pepe, because he's had his critics, me included. I don't think he's done enough overall, but he certainly finished the season well. And if this is a sign of what's to come, could be an exciting season for Nicolas Pepe next season. So for me, the man of the match yesterday, once again, goes to Nicolas Pepe. So we have finished them with 5 wins in a row, which has kind of given the season a slightly imbalanced look. I don't feel as though that's a reflection of where we've been or where we're going. These were games that realistically you would have expected an Arsenal team to win. Teams with not a lot to play for, such as Newcastle, West Bromwich Albion, who were virtually down. Crystal Palace, of course, who was safe, and Brighton as well yesterday, another team with very little to play for. So these were games you would expect us to win. And even the win at Chelsea, as impressive as it was, you have to bear in mind they were 3 days away from an appearance in the FA Cup final, so maybe their minds were slightly elsewhere. But we have won the 5 games, but finishing 8th for 2 seasons in a row is not really acceptable for Arsenal. I don't feel Mikel Arteta has taken us forward. Yes, we got a few more points this season than we did last season, but we scored the same amount of goals and we've lost a lot more games. So there are certainly issues there, and I don't think these 5 wins at the end of the season should really cover that up. People are saying that we've got the 3rd most points since Christmas. Slightly irrelevant stat when we were so poor before Christmas, but I suppose we have to try to look at the positives. So maybe these are things that we can build on. The form of Nicolas Pepe towards the end of the season, as I said, is something else we can build on. And with a decent transfer window, who knows? No European football next season. We may be able to throw everything into the domestic competition. So maybe we can make a better fist of it. A better fist of challenging for the top 4 and go a long way in the domestic cups, because we've got nothing else to play for. I think next season is going to be different with no European football. Certainly going to make a change, isn't it? And it's going to be interesting to see how we cope. But the summer now is really important, isn't it? Who's coming, who's going? Will there be more changes behind the scenes? Will there be a change of coach and manager? Who knows? All this is still coming up to be answered. But I suppose at the end of the day, we have finished with 5 wins in a row, but unfortunately it wasn't enough to get us where we wanted to be. So that's my review of the final match of the season against Brighton. Yes, we won the game, a good enough performance, but overall it's been a poor season, and we cannot disguise that fact no matter how we try to wrap it up. Please stay tuned to the channel, because there will still be some great stuff coming up, even though the season has now finished. Tomorrow night I've got the season review show. This is going to be great. I've got a great panel joining me. We're going to look back on the season and give out our end of season awards. That will be really good, so please stay tuned for that. That's starting at 7:30 tomorrow evening. I'll also be looking at some more moments in history of the club as well. And also through the summer, I'm going to be doing some player profiles, looking at the career of some great players and maybe some not so great players that played for Arsenal over the years. So loads coming up on the channel through the summer. If you haven't done so already, please click on the subscribe button down in the corner there. I do a lot of stuff on the history of the club. I will feature the Arsenal women, any news on that when the new manager's put in place there as well. And obviously all the transfer news coming up through the summer as well. So loads coming up, so please subscribe. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like as well. Please share the content around, and please let me know in the comments what your thoughts were on this performance, how you feel about the season overall. And don't forget to stay tuned tomorrow night for the big season review show at 7:30. That is going to be fantastic. You definitely don't want to miss that. So click on the notification bell as well to get notified when everything goes live. So thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting the channel this season. It's really meant a lot to me. The first season that I've done this, I never thought the channel would grow to the extent that it has. I never thought I'd get this much support. It's been fantastic. I've loved doing it. I'm going to continue doing it into next season as well. So thanks for all your support of the channel. I say stay tuned throughout the summer, because I will be covering a lot more stuff as well. Some great videos and some great shows planned. And of course, in the meantime, as we head towards the break that I think we all need after this really long and difficult season, come on you Gunners, bounce back next year, be better.
Yeah!